Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and a very good afternoon. My name is Nolee and I am the State Executive Councillor for Tourism in Perak, Malaysia. First of all, I would like to express my thanks to Malaysia Tourism Council for inviting me to participate in the MTC Gold Summit 2020. It is indeed an honour to be with everyone here today and share some of the state's government perspectives and initiatives for the tourism industry here in Perak. Just like the rest in the world, Malaysia was also rocked by the speed of devastation that COVID-19 brought and has wrought around the world, and specifically for the tourism industry. Never have we imagined that in many parts of the world, people had to stop literally almost all activities. And in Malaysia, observing the Movement Control Order, or MCO, is an almost complete lockdown for most families. But Alhamdulillah, with God's will, we are blessed to be able to recover in what many would call a shorter time than most, where the numbers of infected cases still dwindling down to single digits in the midst of Malaysia reopening its business by sectors since early June. But saying that, we acknowledge the challenge of the second wave today. So to everyone out there, Malaysia boleh. We have done it before and we will do it again. Ladies and gentlemen, last April, the global travel and tourism industry, as we know, had collapsed, contrasting with earlier predictions that globally, rapid growth in tourism would reach up to 1.8 billion international visits by 2030. It is also seen here in my state, whereupon businesses, small and big, have announced closures, either temporarily or for good. The priority to put lives at the foremost has caused a lot of sacrifices to be made by all parties. But if you have asked me now, within the midst of putting health and safety first, is sustainable tourism still a priority for both destinations and the travellers? It is still a big yes. In fact, I feel COVID-19 has produced a relief for us to find the time and identify new opportunities for sustainability in restarting and also rebooting the industry. Before I share with you some of the measures that we have planned here in Perak, seizing the opportunity created by the lull in tourist arrival, I'm definitely taking a few minutes to promote my city of Ipoh and my state of Perak to all the listeners here.
There is a poem that speaks 1,000 images, one that locks your love in place and catches your dreams and transports you where life is simple and filled with innocence. You bathe in the warm embrace of Mother Nature before taking the path into the belly of the earth and feel the cool air on your face among the time-sculpted walls with eternal love smiling at you from above. You pay solemn respect to an esteemed ancestor and marvel at the way he lived. It is said that love never dies, and you see an enchanting castle replete with spirits that linger gently in the catacombs of your mind. You arrive as a stranger, yet somehow feel that you are part of the rich architectural heritage of the land. You find yourself in that vast landscape of lushness that surrounds you and welcomes you to a flowery garden where every step you take is a lesson in being one with nature. You see a golden dome shimmering under the glare of heaven's eye, testament to the grace and majesty of the Almighty. You run and watch in amazement the delightful behavior of God's creatures. Day turns to night. Nocturnal creatures come out to play and feast. You catch sight of a wondrous lake where locals sway in tune to a silent rhythm. There is also a monument where you catch a glimpse of tradition's past. You step into a sanctuary to pay a visit to a dear old friend and his countless children. Embrace nature as you find yourself beside a peaceful lake, surrounded by an ancient rainforest, older than the Amazon. A broad smile crosses your face as you hang in the air, watching a magnificent river gushing down the side of a hill. A splash of crystal clear water refreshes you as you awake on an island. Perched on a rock, you mark the soil with love as an ode to Perak, the land of grace. We love Perak, and so will you.
Did I get your imagination running? Those 10 icons are home to 6 clusters of tourism destination spread across from the southern to the northern region of the Perak state. Perak is also one of the top 5 states hosting domestic tourism alongside the states. Perak is so huge, we have 6 clusters all over the state anchored by ecotourism, heritage and cultural products, which all demand a measure of sustainable practices to ensure longevity of products, which will in turn contribute to the economies of the locals. For each cluster, as you can see, it is actually a conglomerated effort by districts where we combine the nearby districts to provide enough activities, enough experiences for one to actually come and visit us within 3 to 4 days range. So I believe with cluster destinations, it will also help for us to develop the packages, especially for local and domestic tourism. Ladies and gentlemen, since Malaysia has been in lockdown mid-March 2020 and imposed the MCO, we have been driven by many uncertainties. Public perceptions, thoughts and expectations have been revolving due to uncertainties that the virus brought. It was also the same across the world. For Perak, there were many things to ponder. With 0 businesses during MCO for our industry, we were forecasting rather bleakly for the tourism industry when we actually went into CMCO in June and started reopening the markets. Are the customers ready? Is one of the questions. How do we recover without compromising the lives of our people, without the infestation of COVID-19? Are there new opportunities that can be created with the new norms? Those questions were what we needed to answer. Due to many uncertainties, the state government embarked on the survey through Tourism Perak, supported by Tourism Malaysia, using an AI exercise provided by Rita Indonesia. This survey was done using 1,000 respondents in the tourism industry for the state. I will share with you some of the slides that we have attained from the survey, which will probably see the reconciliation between public perception, be it from the businesses or the consumers' perspective. As I've said, I've picked out a few statistics from the survey that we've done. If we looked at the business situation versus the sentiment, the business situation is actually quite dire. Worries over COVID-19 lingers at 37% among respondents. But some of the respondents think MCO is the real cause of decline at 42%. Almost half of the respondents, at 48%, was pessimistic with the outlook in the post-MCO, whereas 67% thinks that the guests will remain worried with COVID-19. Now, this is what we have gotten from the business operators who were with their perception and their outlook for the industry itself. Now, if we look at the other slide, we can also see the business sentiment across the category of accommodation. There was not really any systematic difference between the categories of accommodation, but you can see that the level of optimism is actually quite varied in terms of where they are staying. Whether they're staying, we have actually categorized it, whether they're staying in a hostel or bed and breakfast, budget hotels and hotel resorts. The level of optimism that guests will come back as usual is actually quite high in the disagreement survey. 67% actually disagreed that the number of guests will be back as usual for the hotel resorts. For the budget hotel at 39%, and also hostel and bed and breakfast, they are actually very, very pessimistic that only 45% would actually agree that the customers would be back as usual. And their perception of their customers' apprehension was also picked up by this survey, where they think that the guests will still be worried with COVID-19 even after the MCO policy is brought to an end. And this is forecasted as something which is agreeable across the industry, with very, very high percentage at 73% for hostel, 64% for budget hotels, and 67% for hotel resort. Alternatively, for the next slide, if we looked at the consumers' confidence of using hotels and resorts, they are actually at the other end of the spectrum of the business perception. Consumers are actually quite confident in travelling and coming back to use those accommodations, where we can see 63% of the sample of the respondents are actually confident with using hotels and resorts post-MCO. And if you look at the data, they also provide what are the sources of apprehension that's actually been captured in this survey, where other guest health and hygiene is the highest cause of concern at 29%, hygiene standard of facilities at 24%, hotel guest management, that means adherence to the SOP with the new norms at 26%, and the staff's health and hygiene, you're concerned for whether the staff themselves are healthy at 20%. So you will see there's actually a differentiation between what is the consumer's perception upon returning or travelling out after post-MCO, and also the business's perception of consumers' confidence. So the key takeaways from the survey for the consumers, it shows that 83% shows high level of apprehension towards COVID-19. 38% of the respondents are willing to take the risk to go on vacation post-MCO, and 16% having high needs to vacation with lower level of apprehension. We can also see that the 3 most favourite destinations are all nature-related, where there are moderate risks for COVID-19 transmission. Overall, respondents are highly favourable at 85% to prefer independent arrangement through online booking. And if you look at the key takeaways for the survey on industry players, the business performance in all sectors were badly affected by COVID-19 and MCO. There is also, like I mentioned before, from the findings of our survey, a mismatch between the business service value proposition and also the consumer concern. There was also a mismatch between business sentiment and consumer confidence in post-MCO. So basically what I'm saying here is that there is a mismatch in perception, whereupon the industry players will now have to take into account that the consumers are actually willing to travel depending on how they perceive the safety and security of them travelling interstate into any tourism destination. So we can see that from the key takeaways, there are a lot of initiatives that the state government could and have taken to ensure that these mismatches or these public perceptions can be solved or made comfortable by our initiatives, which are designed to ensure confidence are being restored for them to travel, especially in the state of Perak. As we well know, COVID-19 has introduced new norms for all of us. We have to avoid the 3 C's: close contact, crowded places, and also confined spaces. So this brings about a new responsibility for all, not only for the consumers, but also for the business operators. And with the 3 C's, it also lays birth to a new emergence of market. There are new markets with new demands and new expectations from the consumers. As you can see, the new markets that we have identified with our survey, of course, relates to domestic market, would actually involve the young millennials, middle-class travellers and family travellers. And the new demands which we have actually picked up from the survey would include experiential tourism, spacious tourism, and also most would actually prefer private trips, be it individual, small groups of friends and families. So now, ladies and gentlemen, for us to sort of like cut off the boredom of hearing me talk, I'm gonna play you some videos which are quite appealing, or rather would be the products that we would showcase for the new market.
This is MTV Goping, hashtag
Moving forward, it will involve rethinking, rebuilding, innovating, and investing in the tourism industry. So for the state of Perak, we've actually introduced a few initiatives for the way forward. Number one, we have the Perak Good Practice Guide. The Perak Good Practice Guide was actually launched as one of our first initiatives to ensure the government SOPs are being complied by the operators. We have established a committee comprising of the government agencies and tourism-related associations, whereupon these two groups form a smart partnership in ensuring that the compliance stated in the Perak Good Practice Guide is being complied by the players. As of today, there are actually over 70 to 80 accommodations who have been certified with the Perak Good Practice Guide certification. For this program, we had Bomber providing the training on health and safety and basic sanitization to selected tourism destinations, including accommodations like hotels and also homestays. For our second initiative, we also emphasize on the TVET training, human resource training. Perak State Government, through Tourism Perak, with the help of Jawatankuasa TVET Negeri Perak, have produced a few programs for employee retention and also skill enhancement. Up to date, we have actually trained 120 tourist guides, whereupon modules like safety, CPR, networking, e-commerce, digital marketing, and videos have been included as part of the training. We have also trained about 140 of those operators who are involved in Pulau Pangkor as duty-free island, and also Manjung as part of the area that complements Pangkor as the duty-free island. So we have actually trained them by not only giving them knowledge and education, but also providing 2 months allowance for them who are really affected by the zero business during the MCO period. One of our favorite initiatives also is called the Digital Storytelling, Pride of Perak, or POP Travels Cercita. It was launched by Mak Berhormat Menteri Besar sendiri and championed by himself as one of the icons to be creative in promoting the tourism industry. There were 88 tourist guides and boat operators who participated from all over the state, who have completed training as media social influencers within the 2 months from June to July 2020. And have now not only produced but are able to produce their own videos. They have learned more about voice, language, copywriting, presentation, video editing, and all of them as well receive an allowance of RM800 per month for the 2 months training. And for the fourth initiative, we have actually launched a government economic support program through our incentives called #TravelPeraklah vouchers. Through this initiative, we actually support or give incentive to travelers coming into Perak with $50 discount for accommodation and $30 discount for activities for those who are visiting us in the state. We have also launched the second phase of #TravelPeraklah vouchers, whereupon those vouchers not only include the accommodations and activities, but also subsidizes packages done by the travel and tour operators registered with Tourism Perak. Up to date, I think each voucher is valued at RM150, and this has been extended to Geopark travel vouchers as well, in conjunction with us celebrating Geopark Lembah Kinta on its 2nd anniversary. Of course, the state government will still continue on with other efforts, which includes conservation and climate change strategies, rebuilding management plans for new and current products, and we have actually formed Perak Tourism Action Council to ensure that smart partnerships between the government and the private sectors are being kept aligned, and each initiatives that we have rolled out will be done in a very timely and very cooperative manner. Tourism added value chains also demands that we emphasize on digital marketing, and this has been done not only with the private sector but also interagency, where we work closely with the other agencies, especially like Digital Perak, to ensure that our media presence are not forgotten, not only for the domestic market but also the international market. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to an end to my presentation today. So, after the second RMCO, please do not forget to take a break and come travel Perak lah. I am sure you will feel reborn, especially after seeing this video. So, see you soon.
With curiosity comes the need to seek adventure. The memories you choose to keep are solely yours to create, and only you have the power to do so. Wonderful adventures like this taught us to be thankful for what we have. It gave us a different perspective of everything we see. This adventure is the memory we chose to create. An adventure begins at home.